A kitchen in Lucknow, usually filled with life, the aroma of spices, the warmth of a family hearth. But not today. Today, silence reigned. A heavy, suffocating silence. It clung to the very air. On the polished countertop it lay. A simple brass rolling pin. A belan they call it here. Used for making soft, round rotis. A symbol of nourishment, of care. Now it was something else entirely. It gleamed ominously under the stark, unblinking light. A silent witness to an awful truth. A truth that would shatter a family. Nearby, a darker story unfolded. A splash of crimson, stark against the cool marble. Blood. So much blood. It spoke of violence, of a life brutally taken, in a place meant for love, the heart of the home. Now the scene of a crime beyond comprehension. This was not just any kitchen, this was not just any stain. It was the epicenter of a tragedy. How did it come to this? A question that haunts us all. The Sharma family lived here, in a modest house, in a bustling Lucknow mahalla. Like many, they had dreams. Simple dreams of a better life, of peace, of prosperity. But life often has other plans. Financial struggles were a constant shadow, a guest that never truly left. Priya Sharma was the grandmother, 68 years old, a woman of strength and tradition. She had seen much in her life, joy, sorrow, hardship. She was the family's anchor. Her wrinkled hands told stories of love, sacrifice, and resilience. She managed the household with a firm but loving hand. Her grandson Arjun was 14, a boy on the cusp of manhood, or so it seemed. He lived with Priya. His parents worked in another city, a common story in modern India, seeking better opportunities, leaving children in ancestral homes. Arjun was quiet, often lost in thought. The family's income was meager. Every rupee counted. Priya managed the finances carefully. Arjun was a child of this new world. Arjun navigated two worlds. One was his grandmother's Lucknow, a world of tradition, of duty, of respect for elders. The other world shimmered on the screen of his cheap smartphone, a world of instant gratification, of trends, likes, and followers, a world that whispered promises, of glamour and easy success. Social media was his escape, his window to a different life. He saw influencers flaunting wealth, new gadgets, fancy clothes, bikes. A stark contrast to his own reality. The pressure to fit in was immense, to possess what others possessed. This desire gnawed at him, a constant, quiet hunger, fueled by endless scrolling. The generational gap was a chasm, wide and deep. Priya understood hard work, saving, frugality, patience. Arjun saw quick gains online, a world that moved at lightning speed. Their conversations were often strained. Misunderstandings were frequent. Love was there, undoubtedly, but buried under layers of disconnect. The real world felt too slow, too demanding, too unforgiving. The dispute was over money, 2,600 rupees. A small sum perhaps to some, but significant in their world. Arjun wanted it desperately. For what? He never clearly said. Priya refused. She was saving for household needs, for a rainy day. She tried to explain the importance of responsibility, the value of patience. But Arjun did not hear her words. He only heard no. A denial of his desires, a barrier to his digital dreams. His frustrations simmered, then boiled. The argument escalated. Harsh words were exchanged, words that could not be unsaid. A lifetime of unspoken grievances, of misunderstood intentions, suddenly erupted. In that small, tense kitchen, the air crackled with fury. A storm was brewing within the heart of a child. Then, the unthinkable happened, a moment of pure, unadulterated rage. Arjun grabbed the brass rolling pin, the belan, his grandmother's tool. In his hand, it became a weapon. He struck her. A life was brutally extinguished, over 2,600 rupees. The discovery was horrifying. A neighbor, worried by the silence, peered through a window, and saw the scene within. The police were called immediately. The quiet Mohalla buzzed with shock, disbelief, and fear. Such a thing had never happened here, not in their peaceful neighborhood. Whispers turned into loud questions. The investigation began. Detectives surveyed the scene. The blood-stained countertop, the brass rolling pin, now evidence. Every detail meticulously noted. Initially, an outside intruder was suspected. A robbery gone wrong, perhaps? The house was searched for clues. Doors and windows checked, but something felt amiss. No signs of forced entry. Nothing valuable seemed missing, except for a life. The focus slowly shifted inwards, towards the family members. Arjun was questioned. Initially, he denied everything. The truth, ugly and devastating, finally spilled out. Arjun was a minor after all. The city of Lucknow watched in stunned silence and dismay. How could a child commit such a crime against his own grandmother? The courtroom became a theater of pain, grief, and legal arguments. The prosecution laid out the facts, the dispute, the weapon, the confession. The defense painted a picture of a troubled boy, lost between two worlds, pressured by societal expectations, lured by the siren call of social media. A victim himself, in some ways, of circumstances beyond his control. They spoke of a momentary lapse, an uncontrollable rage, not a premeditated act of evil. Public reaction was intense and deeply divided. Some called for harsh punishment, an example to be made. Others felt sympathy for the boy, a child who had lost his way. The media amplified the story. Headlines screamed of a broken generation, of failing family values. Society itself felt on trial. The judgment, when it came, was sobering. Arjun was found guilty, sent to a juvenile correction facility for a period of years. But what is true justice in such a case? Can any sentence truly mend the broken lives, the shattered trust? The community was left to grapple with uncomfortable questions about itself, its children, its future. Scars and reflections. Psychologists offered their insights. They spoke of adolescent impulsivity, the underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for judgment. They highlighted the impact of trauma, of growing up with absent parents, the desperate need for validation, often sought in the wrong places, like the fleeting approval of online strangers, a cry for help, tragically unheard. Neighbors remembered Priya fondly, a kind, God-fearing woman. They recalled Arjun as a quiet boy, often seen with his phone. "We never imagined this," one said. "He always seemed so normal." The remaining family members were devastated, caught in an unimaginable nightmare. Arjun's parents returned to Lucknow, their faces etched with grief and shame. They had lost a mother, and in many ways a son too. This tragedy is not an isolated incident. Statistics on youth crime in India paint a worrying picture. A rise in aggression among adolescents, petty disputes escalating into violence. The influence of social media and exposure to violent content are often cited as contributing factors. But are these the only culprits, or symptoms of a deeper malaise? Experts point to a complex web of societal pressures: the relentless pursuit of material success, the erosion of traditional support systems, the communication gap between generations. Families are struggling. Parents are often overworked, stressed. Children feel unheard, unseen, seeking solace in virtual worlds that offer easy escapes, false promises. The Lucknow inheritance was not just 2,600 rupees. It was an inheritance of neglect, of unspoken anxieties, of a society failing its young. Arjun's story is a stark reminder, a wake-up call perhaps. We must look within ourselves, our families, our communities. Are we creating environments where children feel safe, understood, valued? The brass rolling pin, the blood-stained countertop, these are not just details of a crime. They are symbols of a fracture in our social fabric, a warning that we ignore at our peril. The future of our children, the health of our society, depends on the lessons we learn from tragedies like this one. To truly understand the events that unfolded in Lucknow, we must journey back in time, into the lives of those at the heart of this tragedy. Arjun was not always the troubled young man we see today. His childhood was filled with laughter, cricket matches in the narrow lanes, and the comforting aroma of his grandmother's cooking. But as years passed, the warmth of those memories faded, replaced by the cold reality of a fractured family. His parents, once his pillars, grew distant, consumed by their own struggles, their own battles. Arjun, left to navigate the stormy seas of adolescence alone, found solace in the digital world, a place where he could be anyone, do anything, yet feel nothing. His grandmother, Sushila, was the last beacon of hope in his life. A woman of resilience, she had faced her own share of hardships, losing her husband at a young age, raising her children single-handedly. She poured all her love, her hopes into her grandson, believing he was her legacy, her redemption. But even her unwavering support could not shield Arjun from the growing darkness within him. On the other side of this tragic tale is Meena, Arjun's mother, a woman torn between her duties as a mother and the relentless demands of her job. She worked long hours, driven by the need to provide a better future for her family. But in the process, she lost touch with the very people she was trying to protect. The guilt of not being there, of not seeing the signs, weighs heavily on her heart. And then there is Raj, Arjun's father, a man who once dreamed of a bright future for his son but found himself trapped in a cycle of disappointment and frustration. His relationship with Arjun, once filled with promise, deteriorated into a series of arguments and misunderstandings. Raj's own unfulfilled ambitions and the pressure to succeed created a chasm between him and his son, a chasm that seemed impossible to bridge. These backstories, these lives intertwined by fate and family, paint a picture of a tragedy that was years in the making. They remind us that behind every statistic, every headline, there are human beings with dreams, fears, and untold stories. As we reflect on Arjun's tale, let us remember that understanding and empathy are the first steps towards healing. The origins of pain can also be the origins of hope if we choose to listen, to learn, and to love. While Arjun's story is at the heart of this tragedy, the impact of the events in Lucknow ripples far and wide, touching the lives of many secondary characters, each with their own struggles and stories. We begin with Rani, Arjun's childhood friend. Once inseparable, their paths diverged as the years went by. Rani, now a social worker, has dedicated her life to helping troubled youth, perhaps subconsciously trying to reach out to the Arjun she once knew. The news of Arjun's downfall hit her hard, a painful reminder of the fragility of childhood bonds and the unseen battles that many face. She finds herself questioning her own efforts, wondering if she could have done more, reached out sooner. Rani's resolve, however, is only strengthened. She vows to fight harder, to be the beacon of hope for others, even as she grapples with her own feelings of guilt and sorrow. Then there is Inspector Verma, the police officer assigned to Arjun's case. A seasoned veteran, he has seen his share of tragedies, but this case strikes a personal chord. Verma himself is a father, and he cannot help but see his own son in Arjun. The weight of the case bears heavily on him as he navigates the fine line between duty and empathy. Verma's nights are restless, filled with questions about the societal pressures that drive young men like Arjun to the brink. His determination to find justice is matched by his desire to understand, to prevent future tragedies from unfolding. And then we have Neha, Meena's colleague and close friend. Neha has been a silent witness to Meena's struggles, the long hours, the missed family moments. She has always admired Meena's dedication, but now sees the cost it has exacted. Neha's own life is a delicate balance between professional ambitions and personal responsibilities. The events surrounding Arjun have forced her to reevaluate her priorities, to consider the importance of being present for her own family. She becomes a pillar of support for Meena, helping her navigate the storm of emotions and the scrutiny of society. As these secondary characters grapple with the aftermath, we see that the tragedy in Lucknow is not just Arjun's story. It is a reminder that every action, every decision, creates ripples that affect many lives. In understanding their struggles, we gain a deeper insight into the fabric of our society, the interconnectedness of our lives. Let us remember that empathy and understanding are not just for those at the center of the storm, but also for those caught in its periphery. As the ripples in the pond continue to spread, we are left with a poignant reminder. Every life touched by tragedy has a story, and every story has the potential to inspire change.